Welcome back to WagerTalk.com. Boy, we talked about some big games on the opening week, and here is another one in college football. We've got Michigan playing Florida. This game's going to be played in Arlington, Texas. This is going to be a play from Bryan. I'm going to come to you first, Ralph. The big story in this game has been Florida suspends 7 players for the opener, including junior wide receiver Antonio Callaway, who led the team in both catches and yards last year. How's this going to affect this team going into the opening game?
You know what? I think you have enough time where it's not going to matter that much. You know, granted, he's a talent. Florida's loaded, though, with talented players. I mean, they're one of the top recruiting classes, as is Michigan. So, you know, he's maybe worth a point in my book, maybe not even that much, because you have this much time to work around it. I think it just gives the players underneath them more motivation to play and to play well. You know, if anything, it also just puts a chip on people's shoulders. You know, in my estimation, this line has the Harbaugh effect. You know, Michigan is not the better team, yet they're a 3-point favorite in this in my mind, just because you have the Harbaugh effect. Now, it depends. Are we going to have more of a carryover? You know, you lose to Ohio State to lose your national championship potential, then you lose to Florida State in the bowl in another letdown situation. Does that still carry over to this season? So we'll see what happens going into that game with Michigan and how they react over those 2 losses last year. Well,
one of the things, Brian, the carryover effect is most of those players that lost those 2 big games last year and cost them the national championship aren't here this year because the cupboard was bare at Michigan. Now, we've said it time and time again that whenever it's these big programs, you know, they don't rebuild, they just reload. But he's got a lot of reloading to do on this one. Only 5 return on offense, but the defense, which has been a strong suit for Harbaugh's teams, only 1 defensive starter comes back from last year. Can they overcome that this year?
Yeah, when you bring in the amount of good players that they have, the coaching molds the team. And, you know, I have 2 returning starters defensively. It doesn't matter because he's played so many younger players on that side. I think the defense will be quite good. It may not be as great early in the season, but you talk about the offense. They had 3 receivers, a tight end and 2 receivers get drafted in the NFL. How many college football teams have that? And I didn't think the Michigan offense was that great last year. I'm not a big fan of the quarterback for Michigan. And talking about Florida, you talked about the wide receiver leading the team in a few categories. He also leads the team in times being pulled over by the cops for smoking marijuana, and that's another reason why he's not going to be playing in this game. But Florida's got a quality defense. They did have 5 of the 7 that are suspended are on the defensive side, so some of the depth has gone there. But Florida hasn't really put up many offensive points. They've been very inconsistent offensively. Their quarterbacks have really not been good the last few years. They probably wish they had that baseball player back on the team at this point. But I think the defenses are going to rule the day here. I think both teams are going to be very conservative with their offenses. As you say, not a lot of people coming back there, and they didn't have a lot of success there. I think it'll be a position battle game. And one thing a lot of people haven't talked about is the special teams for Michigan. They're 2 special teams guys offensively, the kicker and the returner. 2 of the best guys in college football are not on the team this year. The Browns took one of the guys. So that's a situation where they led football last year in possession, 9.1 yards per possession better because of the special teams. They're not going to have that this year. Now, they did recruit a couple of really good players, so we'll have to see how that goes. But that's a huge advantage, going from number 1 in the country probably back to the middle of the pack this year. I'm going to go for the under in this game.
Going to go for the under. I'll just point out one thing as we head out. Florida does return 9 on offense. Now, granted, they got the suspensions and stuff, but this is year 3 for head coach Jim McElwain. I loved him at Colorado State, and he got that Colorado State program turned around. I think this is the year you see it. He's finally got his players in his system. I think you're going to see it a little bit better continuity early on than Michigan, who's got to, you know, get all those players worked in. Michigan will be better later in the season than at the beginning. And the one thing, they announced 7 suspensions, and you didn't see the line, you know, hardly move at all. That tells you a little bit too.
And I like it when the coaches come out and suspend people like that, like for a bowl game or something. That's
I used to swear when Lou Holtz was at Arkansas, he used to suspend one player, just somebody was getting the axe just to send a message of your bowl season. And that over-under, we do see an early number of 48 on that. Now, again, all of the books have not put up their total yet on that one, but it's going to be in that neighborhood, 46 to 48 with these two teams. So go ahead and look at that. Brian says take the under. And guys, you want to save $10? Use coupon code kickoff10. You can use that anytime up through the Monday of opening week in college football. It's coupon code kickoff10. Save $10 on any package. We'll be back with more at wagertalk.com.